Okay. So what did we learn in yesterday's class?
Loops.
So which loop did we cover?
While loop.
For and
Did we cover for loop?
no,
Ma'am.
while loop we have done.
Okay. No doubt in match case, right? You have understood how match case works, how while loop works. Now let's understand. So break and continue I've taught you yesterday, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's start with past statement. After past, we can go with for loop. Yeah. So after understanding past statement, let's get into for loop. Okay, first let's understand what is past, then let's understand what is while else. Okay, then let's get into for in or for loop. For loop and for in loop. Okay. So let's start understanding what is past statement. As I've written over here, so why is past statement used? That is something which is very important for us to understand. See, basically, past statement is here null statement. Null statement in the sense something which does not carry any value, which does not need to be executed. Okay, when that means it's empty basically. Okay, so what is past is basically, I'll explain you with an example also. If you have code, right? For example, you are writing a code. It could be for something like a very complex code, which right now you cannot decide. So how it could be anything. It could be a variable whose value you do not know now. You'll be knowing it in the future. So until and unless you reach that particular point, unless you get point A, right? Value of A. If you know the value of A, if A is greater than or equal to some value, then you'll have to print so and so. Okay, print so and so. But you do not know when will you get the value of A. I'm just giving an example, okay? So pass statement, why do I write pass or why do I use passes? See, for example, you need the value of A right now. So you have a condition which must be executed. Okay. But the thing is, you do not have value of A and value of B right now in the present scenario, or you do not know what should I do here inside the if statement. If this becomes true, right now you do not know what to be printed, isn't it? So if you do not know what to do, but you know that this condition must be there in my code. Okay. If you know that this condition must be there in my code, but I do not know what after that condition. So that is when I give pass. Pass in the sense you have this condition, but if your code while executing, right, if it enters this particular condition, right, it will just see this pass and just don't do anything. Okay, it doesn't do anything. Basically, it's null statement. Means do nothing. Okay. So basically, if your future code, you are holding a placeholder. See, this particular thing, I have held this space. Okay, I have kept this space for the future code. Future, I'll be writing what to be done. Right now, I do not know what to be done. That's the reason why I'll just write it as pass. You might say, if you do not know what to write, then why do you even need to write this? Okay, why? Because right now you may be knowing that this is a condition when you'll have to do something over here. Okay, later on in the future, you may forget. In order to not forget and in order to refer this for the future, right? This code for the future, we write something called as pass statement. Okay, pass is written for that reason, for future reference. Now need not execute, but in the future you'll have to replace the past statement and you'll have to write some code over there so that it can get executed later in the future. That is what is pass. And one more, you know what? Hmm. You might also say, why even write pass? Just write if, write condition, and then just leave it as it is. Don't write anything and just write else or anything like that and do whatever you want. But we all know, right? So far, we have been writing code or we have been learning Python for a few days now. We know that after each colon, you will be getting an indentation, right? Indentation would be there. After indentation, if you do not write anything over here, if you leave it blank, you will get an error. Okay, so in order to not get an error and in order to refer this code for future, you will just write it as pass. So that when you enter this particular block, if block, you'll see pass and then just don't do anything, just come out. That is why it's known as null statement. You do not do anything at all. It's just a placeholder for future code, okay? And it also prevents compilation errors when leaving code blocks empty. If you leave code blocks empty, you would have got compilation error because indentation would be applied automatically. But when you write pass, you do not get compilation error. Even that is solved. Useful in loops, very much useful in loops, functions, classes, and conditionals. Conditionals, you have already seen the case where it's used. Okay, in the same way, in loops also pass can be used. Okay, when you do not want to do anything for a particular case or for a particular condition in a loop, then you can just write pass. It will not do anything. That's it. In functions also, we have not learned functions yet, but we'll be learning it soon. Okay, then you can also use pass there also. Simple. Pass is nothing but just a future reference for the code. Okay, a placeholder for the future code. Okay, so now let's see the demo, how pass is written. What is wrong? Okay, see, here is an example where pass is used. If n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, print executed, else pass. Inside else also you can write. If you have entered else condition, then don't do anything. Just pass the statement. Why have you written this pass? Why wouldn't have, you could have also left this empty, right? This block. If you would have left it empty, you would have got a compilation error. That's the reason why you have written pass there. Oh, what is wrong? My laptop. Okay. Okay, let's see a demo. Hmm. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is pass. This code is not required. I'll explain it to you in a normal way only. Okay. Now let me take an example where you have if. I'll just take it as true itself. If true, I'll have to do something, okay? So let me do one thing. Let me just leave it empty and then write else. Or let me come out of this and just write nothing to execute. Then what happens? I'm getting an error. Okay, why is it giving me an error? Is because it has, see, basically once you do this, right? Indentation will be automatically applied. And after indentation, if you do not write anything, it is going to give you an error. Okay. So that's the reason why you are getting an error. So instead, what you do, if I don't want the error, I can just write pass. You do not know what to write if true. So just write pass and keep it. See, now it's getting executed. That's it. It's a simple use case. Okay. Pass is basically somewhere, it's used somewhere where you do not know what to write now in the code. For future reference, you just write pass and keep it so that later on you can just remove this pass statement and write whatever you want to do it in the future. Okay. So that was all about past statement. Break, I hope it's clear. Continue, I hope you have understood yesterday. Now let's get into understanding something called as while else. Okay, yesterday you have seen while, right? So if I need to print 1 to 20, how will I do it? First, I is equal to 1, let me take. Isn't it? I is equal to 1, I'll take. So while I is less than or equal to 20, till then I'll go. What will I do? Print I. And after that, I'll also have to increment I each time. Okay, so this is how it works.
Ma'am, I plus 1, right?
Yeah, sorry. I is equal to I plus 1 is something that we do. Okay, because I plus plus, we do not have increment operator in Python. Now, if I print it, I'll be getting it this way. And yesterday, we have also learned that in order to format this output, the way your output look is in your hand. So what can you do? What is a keyword or what is a word that we give, parameter that we give here?
And
Yes, end. And then we give anything that we want, any delimiter that we want. Okay, we can specify our own delimiter. See, now I've printed everything. Now let's see while else. Okay, so I have printed while. So let me take a condition where I'll take an else over here. See, once this becomes false, see what happens in while basically. What happens in while? It keeps on executing everything. It keeps on checking the condition until and unless this condition becomes false, right? That means there is something which is becoming false. So usually else is used in the case where if the first condition becomes false, then else should be printed. So something similar is also happening in while also. When this becomes false, right? You have the rights to print what is there in else. Okay, that's the reason why after a while, I'll just give else and then print here stating that I has already crossed 20. This is for users understanding. When the loop will end, this will get printed. Okay, see, I has already got 20, crossed 20. Why is this getting printed? Why is this getting printed? Slash n is basically for new line, okay? Slash n is for basically for new line. You'll have to remember this also. See what is happening right now in while else in Python is, so basically as and when this becomes false, right? This condition becomes false. It'll see that there is an else block. That means when something becomes false, it gets into the else block and then prints whatever is written over here. If it never becomes false, it will never be able to get here. So that becomes, if it never gets false, that means it's an infinite loop. Okay, so that is why we have an else block where once this gets false, you can also print something at the end. Okay, this is useful when you want to print or when you want to say something soon as the while block or the condition becomes false. As soon as you come out of the while block, if you want to print something, you can just give it in the else part. I hope this is clear. This was all about while else. Simple, you can use it anywhere. Wherever you want to print something, as soon as this while block ends, if you want to print something, you can just give else and then print it. That's it, simple. Okay, there is nothing to memorize also in this. It's similar to if and else, but you don't have if over here. You have something called as while. Okay, so then what can we learn now? It's all about for loop now. Okay, let's understand something called as for loop or for in loop. In Python, it's known as for in loop. Okay, so how is your for in loop? How does it look for in? So for loop is basically the syntax, or let me take an example only directly. For, I'll just say you the syntax first. For variable name, okay, here your variable name comes. Variable name, and then for variable name, in is a keyword. This is the variable name. This is in is a keyword. Range is also a keyword. It's a function basically, okay? Range is a function, not obviously it's a keyword only. Everything which is built in is a keyword, right? This is a function. This is a keyword. This is a function, okay? This is a keyword and this is a function. Function, and then you'll have to give parameters over here. Parameters. This is how the syntax of your for in loop looks like is. You'll have to give for keyword, then variable name, then in keyword, then range function and parameters. I'll say you what are these parameters, how will your parameters look, or how many parameters can you give. All those things we'll be looking at. And then there will be a colon, and then this would be whatever is there within indentation, right? Indentation would be coming over here. Whatever is there over here, whatever you write, print or anything, this would be your for block. Okay, for block. Set of statements would be in your for block. Okay. So that was all about the syntax. Now let's look at the example directly. The same thing what you had seen over here, no? Where you had printed up to 20. Let's print it using for loop or for in loop. I've already told you yesterday why while loop and why for loop. Why do we have two loops? Can any one of you say me why? Till then I'll write the code.
You're asking
Why do
difference
we
between for and while.
No, I'm asking why do we need while loop or why do we need for loop? Why do we need two types of loops? Only one was enough. Both are doing the same, that is repetition task itself. Why do we have two loops? Basically.
The for loop, if we know the number of iterations, then we'll be going for loop. And if we are not sure like how many iterations it might take, then we have to use while.
Yes, right. Okay. So now let me write the same code using for and loop itself. So basically what will I have to do is I'll have to, so I need not even take this one, okay? For I, see, I is a variable that I'm taking. In is a keyword. Now next is range, right? Range function. So before understanding for or before looking at the code, let me teach you what is range function. Okay, so what is range function? Okay. So your range function, no, it's something which is special, okay? So range is something where you write parameters over here. You can just give one parameter or you can also give it like this also. 1, 10 also. So what is the difference between these two? I'll explain you. See. See, what is the difference between these two is something that we need to understand. Okay. Okay. Syntax you have understood, right? For loops. I'll just write range. Okay. So you have range as I told you earlier. Range. So you have two ways. One is this range function with just one parameter m. And then you have another function that is same range function with two, which is taking two parameters, m comma n. So when you only write one parameter, right? This means you are starting from 0 and continuing till m minus 1. Basically, this is exclusive. Okay, exclusive. In the sense, whatever you write here, right? It will not consider this. For example, range of 3. What does the range of 3 mean? Range of 3 means all the list of elements, all the elements starting from 0 up to 2. 0, 1 and 2. If I write range of 5, what does that mean? Elements starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exclusive. This is exclusive. 5 is not included. So m minus 1, until m minus 1 you can go. That is what is range. Range is basically what you know. It is basically used for you to represent list of numbers together. Okay. List, not list of numbers. I mean collection of numbers. Okay, so whatever collection of numbers, if you want to say that you want to print from, okay, not print, numbers starting from 0 to 20. How can you write it in range? Range of 20, that's it. This means starting from 0 up till 19. If you want till 20, you will have to write 21 over here. Now it will go till 20. Now what does this mean? So range of m comma n means m is what? M is starting index or starting number. Okay, starting. N means ending, but it's non-inclusive once again. This is non-inclusive. Means exclusive it is. That means whatever you write here or whatever you write here, it won't be included, but the number before that is included. So if I take an example for 2-parameter range function, so I'll take that it has 5, comma 10. So what does this mean? Basically starting from 5, this is inclusive, okay? This is inclusive, whereas this is non-inclusive. Here, this was non-inclusive only. But starting from 0. If you're only writing one parameter, that means you're automatically starting from 0 only. Here you have given starting. So that is the reason why I'll start from 5. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Up till 9 only. Because 10 is non-inclusive or it's exclusive. That's the reason why you are going up till 9. Is this clear? A range function.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's see how is range function used or where is it used. So basically range is nothing but collection of numbers, right? So range is something which will be used in for loop. So for in loop, basically, okay? So let me show you here. It's directly in the code itself. See, for I in range, what do I need to print? From 1 to 20, I need to print. Either I can give 1, comma 20. This is the only way I can give, okay? Because if I only give 21, right, it will print from 0, but I don't want 0. So that's the reason why I'm giving 1, comma 21. I want to print up till 20. So for I in range 1, comma 21, what do I need to print? Print I is something that I'll do. Okay, now let's print it. See, you have got it. Here also, let me format the output. End is equal to, let me just give a space. Okay, see, this is your 1 to 20. You were easily able to print it using this one line of code. You need not even assign this to 1, 0 or something like that. You were easily able to print it directly. Isn't it? So what is happening basically over here in for in range, foreign and range condition? What is happening basically in foreign loop? So what happens in foreign loop is, for is a loop, right? I is any variable name, okay? I is basically what it's doing is, so how will your range of 1, comma 21 look like? So your range of 1, comma 21 will look like this. 3, 4, 5, 6 up till 20. It's a collection of numbers, okay? This is what is collection of numbers. Now you're saying using for loop that using the variable I, I want to iterate this collection. Okay, I want to iterate through this collection. That is what you're doing. So first I becomes what? I becomes 1 and you print 1. Okay, then again I goes into the next whatever element is there in the range. It's 2. So you print 2. Next I gets here. I is this one now. I is 3. You print 3. I is 4. You print 4. I is 5. Up till 20, you print 20. So that is what is happening. Okay, so basically for I in the range, so whatever is there in the range, whatever is there in the list, I just want to print it using I variable is what you're saying through this particular piece of code is. Okay, so whatever is there in the range, in the collection of numbers or in the collection of data, in the collection of numbers that I've got, whatever is there in the range, I want to print it using I variable is what you're saying. That is why it's getting printed easily. So this was all about for in range, okay? For in range or for in loop. Easy, simple, isn't it? Now here you can use this for in, right? In various cases, not just in this one example, just for printing. For pattern printing also, for pattern making also, you can use for loops. Okay, you can use nested for as well. Nested for also you can use. I'll show you nested as well. Okay, and in range, right, I've shown you already two types variations. One is just with one parameter. Another range I've shown with 2 parameters, starting and ending. And then we have third type of range as well, which is having starting, which is having ending, as well as there is something called as step size. Okay, when you do not write any step size, no. Here also step is used, here also step is used. But default steps are used. Okay, default step is used. So what is default step? It's equal to 1. So default is 1. That's the reason why. See, once 1 got printed, then you went to 2. Only 1 difference is there between them. Okay, the next step is 3. Difference between 2 and 3 is 1. The next one is 4. Difference between 3 and 4 is 1. So when you don't mention this step or when you don't use this kind of function, range function, default step value is equal to 1. Now let's see, try to print something using this. Okay, let's try to print something using the third type of range. So here itself I'll do it. For I in range 1, 21, comma step. Step in the sense you will get to know. I'll just give it as 2 now. Now let's print it. See, after 1 directly 3 is getting printed. Okay, after 3 directly 5 is getting printed. So what does this mean is, what does this particular range function mean is, so previously when you do not write the step value, right, you were getting collection in this way, 3 up till 20. So when you're writing step value, right, your range or collection will look like this. After 1, starting from 1, ending at 21, before 21, but step is 2. That means after 1, you'll have to leave 2 spaces and then print whatever is next. That is not print, put it in the collection. 3, 4 and 5, so 5 is printed. 5, 6 and 7, 7 is printed. 7, 8 and 9, 2 difference, 9 is printed. Then 11 is printed. Then 13 is printed. Then so on up till 19 you'll print because that is the only one that you can print. After 19, again 2 step would be 21, right? Which is non-inclusive. So you don't print 21 over here in the list. Okay. I hope this is clear. You set the starting, you set the ending, which is non-exclusive. Ending is exclusive. Ending is excluded from the list always. Ending. Starting is inclusive. This is non-inclusive. That means it's exclusive in nature. And this is your step size. That means between each element, what is the step? You can mention it over there. Okay. Now, any doubt so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, is this the standard syntax for Python for in?
Yeah.
Like we have to write for and in together, right? Like there is no for. Okay.
For, no, this is the standard one.
Okay.
Okay, this is what we use most of the times or everywhere in Python is other than while. Okay, next one that we need to learn now is, so you have understood what is for, how to use end also, end keyword, end parameter also in print. Formatting string, format string we have not, F string we have not learned yet. In print we have something called as F string also, okay? F string we'll look at it later. When we solve questions this week, that is tomorrow itself, I think I'll take 2 hours of class tomorrow itself, where we'll be solving questions. If today we finish for loop, right, we can solve questions like Fibonacci series, arithmetic progression related. Okay, these we can solve. So tomorrow we'll be solving questions only. And you need not use always range, okay? In for, right? For I in, you need not use range only. You can have anything over here, 1, 2, 3. You can also define these lists. No problem. You can do this also. There is no problem. This is known as tuple, okay, in Python. When you write it in this, it's known as tuple. We'll get into that later. But for now, just understand you have something like this collection of elements and you want to print it. So how do you print it? Using I itself, isn't it? Using I itself, you're printing and you are formatting your output also. Okay, this is also fine. Range is just because instead of you writing so much, you can easily do it using this itself. How can I write the same thing in range? Range 1, 8, isn't it? 1, 8. Because till 7 I want to print. That's the reason why I've taken 8, because 8 is non-inclusive. Now if I print the same output I get. Okay, that is why we use range to make our task easier. 3 types of range also you have seen. I mean 3 variations of range also you have seen. Now let's understand something called as nested loop. Yesterday in while also we have seen, but we have not seen nested loop, I guess. Today we'll be looking at while nested loop as well as for in nested loop. And where is it used? We'll be understanding in tomorrow's class, where we'll be solving questions. Okay. So now let's start with nested loop. Now, for example, consider you want to print something like this. Okay, today let's do let's solve one question itself. Okay. That is multiplication one yesterday, which I had done half, right? So you want to print something like this. 2 into 1 is equal to 2. Or 2 into 2 is equal to 4. 2 into 3 is equal to 6. Something like this if you want to print. How will you do it? How will you do it? First is, let's take input from the user. That is in the int format we'll have to take, okay? So I'll take input from the user. Int input enter the number whose multiples you want, whose multiplication table you want or multiples you want. Okay. So I've asked user the input. Once the user input something, we will have to go on printing this up till 10. 2 tens are. Okay, if he enters 2, you'll have to print 2 ones are 2 twos are 2 to 3s are. This is how you will have to print. Isn't it? How will you do it? Let's see F string use also in here. Okay, so how will you print it? Let's use for loop, but we are using over here nested. Using nested for loop, let's do the task. Actually, nested for loop is not required, but let me explain you for this. Okay, first or else I'll teach you what is F string. Then let's see nested loop. Okay. First, let's see F string. How can you do this? How can you print this using F string? Okay. So now what is my main objective is I just need to print so much. So what will I do? For. I'll use for itself for I in the range or for I. Okay. In range. From where to where do I want to print this? This part 1, 2, 3 till n, right? So from 1 I'll start and I'll go till 11. Okay, so from 1 I'll start, or I can only do this for I in range of 11. It'll start from 0. Here I don't want 0, so 1, 11 I'll do. For I in range of 11, what do I need to do? I need to print something like this. 2 into I. First, let's see what is our output going to be over here. Not 2 into I, sorry. It's not 2 into I. It's the input, whatever user has given into I is something that I'll have to do. Now let me do the input. Okay, now here I'll give it as 2. Okay, I'll give it as 2. See, I'm getting it in normal, simple way. But how will I do it in this way? So you might think it's simple and we can directly do it in this way. 2 is n, and then you want something like this star, which is a string, 2 into, and then you can do this, and then you can do this is equal to, what do you need to print now? It is basically n into I. So if this would be Java, right, this would have worked. Okay. But here, even in Java, it wouldn't work. Why? Because this is your integer and this is your string. So can you add a string or can you concatenate a string and an integer? No, it's not possible. So that's the reason why when I run this, you will get an error. String object is not callable. Perhaps you missed a comma. Okay. So it's showing an error. Let me do a plus here. It is showing you error. Okay. See, all these errors you're getting. Unsupported operand plus for int and string. You cannot concatenate a string with an integer. So that is when we use something called as f string. Okay, so what do we use? I'll just write it down. You use something called as to print these kind of conditions, right? To print all these together. If you want to print this without any worries, without any conversion or something, you have something called as f strings. Okay, what is it called as? F strings. Okay, F string means is nothing but formatted string. Formatting, basically. Formatting string literals. F string is nothing but formatted strings literal. Basically, what this helps us in doing is you can easily write integer and strings together. You can write it in this way easily. So how do you just write it? I'll just explain you. Just use a f and then use double quotes. Okay, use a double quote around the expression. And then wherever you want something like a number to be printed, right? For example, here I had n. So just put a flower bracket around it. Here also I have an integer. Just put a flower bracket. Here also this is an integer. So put a flower bracket. Okay, that's it. This is your formatted string. So you have double quotes around it. Okay, this double quote is not required now. Okay, this double quote is not required now. Whatever in between you had written, no double quotes, this is not required now. Okay, only this starting double quote and ending double quote is required. This whole is considered to be a string. But in between, these are numbers which will be, so whatever you have written in the flower bracket, right? This will be replaced with the actual value. N is what? Whatever the value of n is, it will be replaced over here. Now you can see, so all these plus are not required. These are redundant, right? All these are not required. This is also not required. That's just a multiplication symbol is enough. N into I is equal to N into I is something that you want to print. That's it, nothing else. Now if you give enter and if I see there is no error, I'll just give 2. See, now you can see that it's getting printed. 2 into 1 is 2, 2 into 2 is 4, 2 into 3 is 6, 2 into 4 is 8. So that is how it works. Okay, it's simple. Nothing to be worried. It is that simple. F string is basically, you are basically printing your numerals as well as your strings together in one itself. For example, I'll take age of a person to be 20. I want to print something like print your age that you entered is age. If I give, obviously this would be wrong, right? You'll be just getting it as age. Whereas you want this to be replaced by the actual value. That is when you use F string. Just so much you'll have to do. Just cover it with flower bracket. So you'll check this is a F string. So wherever there is a flower bracket, replace it with actual value. That's it. Done. When you run it now, you'll be getting it right. Okay, this is all about F string. That is what is F string is. Okay. F string is basically used for formatting your output. Remember this. Like you were using end, in the same way, F string is used for formatting your string output. Okay, that is what the use case of F string is. So you have got to know how to multiply and write this. Okay, it is that simple. F string is only so much. I hope this is clear. Now let's see nested loops. Okay, first let's get into understanding your nested for loop itself. So I want to print something like this now. Okay, in nested for loop, I want to not just in nested for loop. My question to you guys is only so much. My task that I give as a okay, so what will I do is I will ask you guys to print something like this 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Up till 2 is enough. And then I want 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. Then I want 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. Only so much. I want you guys to print so much only. How will you do it? You can do this using nested loops. Okay, so how is that possible? Let's see. How is that possible? Let's see. Just give me a minute. Okay, now let's do it. So what is your task? Your task is to print this, right? So what will you do is, we'll take for I in range. So my task is, see, always remember, this is your row, okay? Where is it? This is your row. Row 1, row 2, row 3. Okay, this was your column. Column 1, column 2, column 3, isn't it? So in nested, right, when you're writing nested, for inside for when you write, this would be, the outer one would be representing your rows and the inner one would be representing your columns. Always remember this. So whatever outer one you're representing, right, outer for loop that you're writing, right, that is for your rows. How many rows are there in this? 1, 2, 3 rows. So my range should be from where? See, from 0 till 2 it's going, right? Range, row. So from where to where is my row going? My rows are going from 0 to 2, isn't it? 0, 1, 2. So 0 to 2, my rows are going. 0, oh, this is the first row, this is the second row. So my range should be what? I can just write it in range as 0, 1, 2 I need. So I'll just write so much. 3 is exclusive, it's starting from 0 to 2. Okay, this was for my out of, that is rows. Now for my columns, for I can't take I again, I'll have to take another variable, j in range. This is for columns, okay? This is for columns. How many columns are there? 1, 2, 3 columns. And 0, 1, and 2. Right? Once again, range is 3 only. Now I'll have to print what? I, comma j. So basically, see, how is it printed? If I is representing your rows and j is representing your calls, I and j both are starting from 0 and they're getting up till, going up till 2. Isn't it? So what is I over here? I in the sense it's rows, right? I is 0, I is 1, I is 2, 0th row, first row, second row. What is j? J is for column. What is j over here? It's 0. This is 1. What is j here? It's true, right? So now what is this? 0, 0, I, j, right? What is I, j here? I, j is 0, 1. In the same way, I, j again is what? I, j is 0, 2. Right? That is what I'll have to print, nothing else. So that's the reason why I'll just give print I, j. Okay, print I, j. And remember, after printing I, j, I, j, I, j, after printing these three elements, right? That is these, in the first row, once I print 3 columns. First row, I'll print 3 columns. In the first row, I'm printing all the 3 columns. 1, I, j, I, j, I, j. After printing all the 3 columns, I am going to the next line, right? I'm going to the next line. So here, I just need space between each. I, j, I want to print. Okay, I want to print I, j. Along with that, I want to print end is equal to, I want to give space between I, j, this I, j, this I, j, this I, j. I need space. Okay, like this. But see, how is it printing now? It's printing it as 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. And next 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. Everything is continuing in the same line. I don't want that to happen. So what will I do is, I'll come out of this for loop after printing each row, each column, each row's columns, right? After printing each row, I want to go into the next line. So that's the reason why I'll just give this print and then slash in. So that after each row is printed, it comes out of this for loop after printing one row, and then it enters or gives a next line. See now it's printing right. That's it. Now I'll explain you the same thing using how this for loop is working, nested for loop is working. I'll explain you. Okay, so let me rub this first. Let me just erase all of these. Okay. See what is happening in this nested for loop. That one, let me explain. How is it printing and what is happening? Starting. Always remember the outer loop is for your rows. The inner loop is always for your columns within the rows. Remember, it's calls or columns within the rows. So what is happening here? For I in range 3, that means I is going from where to where? 0 to 2. J is also going from 0 to 2 in this case. Right? So what is happening using this for loop is, first a row is created. Inside that row, we are printing these columns. Okay? Whatever the columns are there, so we are printing it. So first row is created because of this. First row is that. Inside that, we are printing the columns. I, j is something that we need to print. What is I? I was 0 in the beginning. Okay, then we entered this loop. J is also 0 in the beginning. J is in range 3. Yes, it is in range 3. So first that we have over here is 0. So J is 0, I is 0. So 0, 0 is printed. Next, end is space. So a space is left and then we get back again over here. For J in range, next element that we have over here in the range is 1, isn't it? After 0, we have 1. So J has changed. Did I change? No, right? So that's the reason why I is again 0 in this print statement. I is again 0 and J has changed to 2. Again a space is left. Then again, it'll check. For J in range 0 to 2, yes, will print. Again, I will be 0 only. Then we are, sorry, this was 1, okay? Then this is 2. Okay. Again, end is, there is a space again over here. After that, again we'll check. J now is in range. We have we have printed whatever was there in the range 0 to 2 we have printed. So that's the reason why we will come out of this for loop. Okay, from this inner for loop, we are coming out. What is the next statement? Print statement. That is, I'll have to go into the next line. So my cursor was here. Now my cursor is over here. Now after this, again, I'll get into this for loop. For 0 is printed from the range 0 to 2, right? Still 1 and 2 has to be printed. Now what is your I? I becomes 1. Okay, again I'll enter the loop. J will start from 0 once again. So I is 1, J is 0, 1 comma 0. After that space again. Again I is 1 and J becomes 1. Again in the same way I is 1, J is 2. Once again my cursor was here. As soon as when I came over here, right, into the next I, again row was created, isn't it? And then all the columns within this row is printed. Again, now what happens? End is there. So space is there. After that, I'll print this. I'll come into the next line. Again, I'll come into I. So 0 and 1 I've already printed. Again, 2 is to be printed from this range. So another column is created. Created in the sense it's just an imaginary thing. Okay, what is happening? Creation. Only printing is happening over here. I'm just saying you for the explanation purpose. Now, I is what? 2. So 2, 2, 2. I will always be 2 in the whole, this one, in the row. Then J, once again from 0, will get into 1, then it will get into 2. Right? So this is how your printing is happening. Once it becomes true, right? Again, it will check. J has already printed 0, 1, and 2. So you'll come out of the loop. Again, your cursor will go here. Again, you'll check in the outer for loop. What is there in outer for loop? You have already printed 0, 1, and 2. So there is nothing else to be printed from the range. That's the reason why you come out of the entire for loop. That is how you are getting this one printed. Okay, that is how you are getting this particular rows and columns printed. I hope this is clear. Any doubt? Or was it confusing? Are you confused? Anything like that? You can let me know. I'll explain you with another example, nested for loop. Any doubt?
ma'am.
For me, it's clear.
What?
Yeah, it's clear for me.
Okay. Abhinandan, doubt?
No, ma'am. Yeah.
Was it confusing?
No, ma'am. It's fine. I
Okay.
understand.
Okay. Aditi, doubt?
No, ma'am.
Viresh?
No, ma'am. Clear.
Himabindu?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay. So,
Ma'am, for me, the only problem is like I'm learning Python for the first time. So syntactically, it is new for me. So it might take some time.
okay. So, yeah.
Ma'am,
Don't, yeah.
ma'am, this F string, could you please explain the syntax in Java, ma'am, if possible?
You needed it in Java.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
F string is not there in Java. In Java, right, you can directly write. Yeah. Ask.
No, ma'am, tell me.
Okay. In Java, basically, what were you doing? You were directly writing it like this, no? System.out.println, and let me take Java compiler only. Hima Bindu, you
Yes,
are coming from today, right, to the class?
yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Okay, see, basically we are doing Python, okay, in this.
Okay. Ma'am, there
So,
won't be any, like, Java sessions, ma'am, like Java codes.
no, so we have changed it from Java to Python. So basically
Okay.
I have so basically it was Java only in the beginning, but right now, no, the industry wants Python from you guys, okay? Java
Okay.
is there. I've already shown you that TOV index, right? So that is the reason why I say don't miss classes. If you're missing the classes, watch online the recording classes that I've will be shared. I'll say sir to share it with you guys. Okay, please do watch that because from the beginning I've started Python from the scratch. I think
Okay.
Abhinandan and Aditi were there from the beginning also. Abhishek
Yes,
has
ma'am.
missed some of the classes and Viresh was also there from the beginning, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So they know that I have started Python from the scratch only. All the syntax, everything I've been explaining, okay? So if you have any doubt, right, you can contact me personally also. I can teach you, I can share you the notes, whatever I have written. See, TOB index is basically which shows you what is the rating for each and every languages. In this index, right, you can see that Python is having a positive index of plus 8.10. That means from 1 year plus 8 is an increment in Python. This is basically means that 26% of the industry, in the industry, 26% is being used, Python is being used. And in the past 1 year, plus 8 increment is there where industry is using Python. Okay, C++, there is a reduction. That means it's negative. C, there is a negative. Java, there is a negative. Only 8% of the people, 8% of the industry is using this. Okay, so that's the reason why I have shifted the entire course into Python. Okay.
Okay.
So that is the reason why. Looking at what is required right now, and me also, I'm a Java lover. Okay. When I wanted to do the course in Java only just because Java is something which is very good for me also. I can easily teach you guys Java, no problem in that. But why I chose Python is my company alone is also asking me to learn Python now. It doesn't want Java from me. Okay. So that's the reason why Java, if you know, Python, right? You can easily shift to AIML because you have lots of libraries in this one Python, which will be helping you in shifting to AIML also. Okay, that is the reason why. So in Java, what you asked, you directly write it. You can directly write over here anything. So if you write strings, right, in Java, you do not have something called as format strings and all those. Now, if you want to write your name, you can write your name. Or if you want to write, I have a variable like int a is equal to 10, I can directly print a here, no problem. There is no problem in this. See, right? So there is no need of f string in Java. Whereas in Python, this was not the case. If you print, this was an integer, right? So integer with string cannot be concatenated in Python. That is not allowed in Python. Whereas in Java, it's allowed. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So you don't have anything called as f string in Python. Do you guys have any doubt in this nested for loop?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And if you're feeling or if you're finding it difficult, no, start from the scratch. Watch 2 to 3 videos of Python from the scratch. So whatever I have done so far, no, it was all simple only. So what did I start with in the beginning? I started with why you should learn Python. We have seen some of the major companies that are using it. So it was Airbnb, Google Sheets. All these are HackerRank, HackerEarth. All these platforms are using Python. So we started from that example. Then we went into understanding what are the features of Python. Isn't it? Those who were there in the class, you might remember it. Remember this also. During interview, it's very important. Okay, what was the feature of Python is the next thing that we had learned. After that, we have seen where is Python being applied. Even in your desktop, Notepad is also using Python, isn't it? And then we saw what is the importance of Python when shifting to AML. After that, we studied about what is Python. Is it a compiled language or is it an interpreted language? Basically, Python is not just an interpreted language alone. Python is both compiled as well as interpreted language, if you remember. So what happens in the phase 1? It's compilation phase. And then the phase 2 is interpretation phase. Okay, you can watch the online class, recording class if I've done it. Okay, then we saw that programming language is divided into low level as well as high level. I'll share you the notes, whatever I have written. You can just refer to it if you were not there in the class earlier. Okay, then we saw what are translators, how do translators work. That is how do basically interpreter and your compiler works. This is what we had seen. Then we had seen something called as why is Python platform independent. We had seen this also, isn't it? After that, what did we see? We saw number system. In number system, we have read binary, octal, decimal, hexadecimal, all these. Right. After number system, we started with variables. Right. We directly started with variables. And then we started, after variables, we went into understanding the different data types that we have, right? Then we saw type conversion also in Python. After that, we have seen operators. Under operators, we had seen arithmetic operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, logical operators, bitwise. All these we have seen. Then we saw precedency in the day before yesterday's class, right? After that, we had seen conditionals. After that, we have come to loops. Okay, these were some of the topics that we have covered already. From the scratch, we are doing Python, okay? So after that, we came to loops. Under loops also, while loop is done, but I've not taught you yet nested while loop. Same as you have seen for loop, you can do nested while loop also. I'll be showing you in 5 minutes. Okay, after that, we have seen continue statement, we have seen break statement, we have seen bar statement. Then why pass is used, we have seen. Then we have seen while else today. Then we came into for loop. Okay, so this was all the things that we have covered so far. If you have any doubt, I can recommend you either watching the recorded classes or you can watch some basic Python syntax. Okay, so that the further classes does not or is not boring and is not difficult, so that you
Okay.
understand everything. I know some of you already know logic building, already have logic building, but we have started with a new language, right? So that's the reason why you may have to get comfortable with the syntax of this language. Okay, that is the reason why I took the initiative of teaching you Python from the scratch. Okay. If you have any doubt, please do text me or put a message to me on WhatsApp. I'll reply, I'll respond. I'll share you the resources that is required for you to learn from the scratch. No problem, I can do that.
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
so yeah. Now, so you have seen for, right? Nested for loop. I hope you understood how it's working. So this is for your rows. This is for your columns within that particular rows, with that particular specific rows. Now using while, how can you print this? Easy. So for this, I'll have to use I is equal to 0. Okay. While I is less than or equal to 2. And then j is equal to 0. And then here, while nested while it is, while j is less than or equal to 2. And then what do you need to print? Print is the same. This print itself you can use. Okay, print this itself you can use. And print slash and also you can use. Now if you print this, sorry, I did not increment it. That's the reason why it's happening this way. Here, you need not have to increment because each time it was taking a new value, right? Here you will have to increment. So after this printing, right? So let's do one thing. J++ is something that I'll do. Sorry, not J++. Once again, I'm going back to Java only. J is equal to J+1. You will have to do it here. And after printing this line, right? I is equal to I+1 is something that we'll have to use. I is less than or equal to 2, j is equal to 0, j is less than or equal to 2. Is there any mistake, I, comma, j? J is equal to j+1. I'll print this in online compiler itself. Okay. See, if you run this, you'll be getting it. Okay, the same thing, but in nested, I've done it. That's it. So how is it working once again? The outer loop that you have, right? The outer loop that you have, right? This one, this is for your row, this one. Okay, and the inner loop that you have is for each and every column, this column, this column, this column. Next, again, we get into this row, second row. And then for each and every column, this column. third row, these are the third row columns, right? That is how your nested loops work is. Any doubt in nested loop?
Ma'am, for this, like, how will it terminate from the loop, ma'am?
Termination is from because of the condition itself over here.
Okay.
Okay, see, I'll just explain you. How is termination happening? You're asking, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Termination is the condition over here. As soon as I or j, as soon as j, see, each time I'm incrementing j, right? J is equal to j plus 1. So how is it working? First, I will be what? I will be equal to 0, right? I've set it. So 0 is less than or equal to 2. It's true. So I'll enter this loop. Enter this loop. J is equal to 0. J is 0 right now. So I is 0 and j is 0. Okay. Now I'll check if j is less than or equal to 2. If j is less than or equal to 2, obviously yes. J is 0. 0 is less than or equal to 2 is true. So what will I do? I'll print I comma j. So what is I? 0. So that is what is getting printed in the beginning. 0 comma 0. I comma j. This is I. This is j. Okay, then end is nothing but I've given a space over here. After that, I'm doing j is equal to j plus 1. So j is equal to j plus 1 in the sense, what was j earlier? It was 0, right? Now what is j? After this increment, it is equal to 1 now. Okay, once it becomes 1, again, I'll get into this. This loop is not yet terminated. Again, condition will get checked. So j is 1 now. 1 is less than or equal to 2. Is it true or false? It's true, right? So if it is true, again, what is I? I is 0 itself. It has not changed yet. So 0 comma, what is j now? J got incremented over here. It was 1. So 0 comma 1 gets printed. Okay. After that, again, space. Again, j is incremented to 2. So 2 is less than or equal to 2 is true. So again, I is still 0. So 0 comma 2 is printed because j is now 2, right? So 2 is printed. Again, a space will be left. Again, j is equal to j plus 1 it becomes. So j is equal to 3 now. Isn't it? Now it checks the condition again. 3 less than or equal to 2. Is it true or false? It's false. So if it is false, obviously will come out of this entire loop. So what is after coming out of this entire loop? After coming out of this block, while block. So this was your while block. You come out of the while block and then you have something called as print. Print next line. So your cursor will go here. Okay, your cursor will go here. Next, after coming here, you do I is equal to I plus 1. What is I is equal to I plus 1? What was I? I was 0. I is equal to I plus 1. I now becomes 1. Right? Again, for I is equal to 1, all these loop, again 3 times it will get executed. 0, 1, 2. Again, you'll go here. Again, for I is equal to 2, 0, 1, 2 will get printed. After that, when I also become equal to 3, when I becomes equal to 3, right? After 2, next is 3. But I don't want that. So I'll check the condition. 3 is less than or equal to 2 becomes false. That is why you come out of this outer while loop also. That is when the entire printing stops. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you have any doubt, please do ask. Okay, don't just say yes because I've explained you twice or explained you once, whatever it is. Even if you want, I'll explain you thrice, no problem. Just ask me because this is your learning stage. If you do not ask, you won't be able to learn anything. Questioning is the only way to learn something better. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So this is how the condition breaks over here. Until and unless you have set the condition here. In for loop, that was not the case. In for loop, what did you do? In for loop, basically, so let's get into that. In for loop, you had just written range. So range was only doing all your task. Whatever is there in range, everything gets printed, everything gets replaced by. Okay. So that was all about for loop, nested for loop, and while loop and nested while loop. Any doubt?
No, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay. you guys have any doubt, please do ask me. Okay, for today, I think this is enough. Please do keep on revising whatever we have studied from the beginning. Okay, if you do not revise, your preparation will be equal to zero within 1 or 2 weeks. If you're not revising whatever we have studied in the past 1 week, if you do not revise every day, your preparation after 1 week will be once again back to zero, because you don't remember anything. You may have to start back from zero. Okay, that is the reason why instead of wasting your time on starting back from zero, revise every day for 5-10 minutes, whatever we have done in previous class, so that you remember it. Okay, you remember whatever is done in the previous classes, and then later on apply those concepts only. Tomorrow onwards, we can start with, tomorrow we'll be solving questions, okay? After solving questions, if you are done with questions only, then we'll get into understanding or learning functions in Python. So tomorrow onwards, I can start with questions. And along with that, we can go with some other concepts also, like functions. After functions, we can see all about call stack. How does function calling happen? What is a memory layout in Python? What is the scope of variables? Somebody had asked in the beginning itself, global variable, is it there? Yes, it is there. We'll be understanding what are the scope of variables in that. Then we'll be understanding what are default parameters, all these things in the next coming classes. Okay, inbuilt functions. Then we'll also learn reading files. How do we read files using Python? That also we'll be learning. Then along with that, we'll be learning something extra. That is, we'll be learning all the other concepts that we have in Python, along with NumPy and Pandas. These two libraries also will be covering in depth. Then we'll come to an end with Python. Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I guess for today, this is enough. And Hima, this was your first class, right? We are doing 1 hour class every day, okay? And
Okay.
because of the feedback, I'm taking 1 hour class every day. And along with that, weekly once I'll be taking 2 hours class where we'll be solving questions.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah.
Ma'am, like, could you please share me the recorded videos of the previous classes?